moving further, we can't completely exist in an unconditional way of being in this world that is so conditional. There are people who don't really see this way of being at all. They don't relate to it. They don't understand it. And they're very aggressive and, violent. And if you don't want to deal with the aggression and the violence and the countries that claim ownership of land and then have militaries to back them up, right? We have to conditionally operate with the old paradigm to get our planet back, to get our resources back, to get our tools and to make our free education systems and better medical systems. The current stewardship of non-consensual governance isn't cutting it, will not cut it, isn't designed to cut it, isn't designed to do any of the things that we want in this revolution. So how do we get to the point where we have all those things that these nations have that we need without fighting for it? Business. Cooperative business. Beyond cooperative business. Sure, we've all heard about various cooperative business models that distribute a portion of resources and some element of decision-making control. I'm here to present an evolution of that I've nicknamed interconnected collectives. The concept is relatively simple. Very much like a cooperative or a haul-on, it's a group of people that can interchange roles. And it's like roles aren't bound to identities. Identities fill roles for certain time periods. And generally there are multiple identities that fill any one role, like the role of the CEO kind of the part of the business, or the role of the administrative part of the business, or the role of the on the ground talking to people part of the business. Instead of having one CEO that owns the company owns itself, and that role is interchanged out. And it expands on this with stewardship, collective stewardship of everything. Businesses aren't inherently designed for that, but interconnected collectives are. They're designed to hold land. They're designed to hold time, people, energy, skills, people that are being deployed for that interconnected collective. It's designed to hold media reach. It's designed to hold all form of resources. And this system is inherently a social system, and it's called a DAO. A decentralized autonomous organization where there is no central authority decision-making. There's simply a unified process and a collective decision-making. Many groups, including us, are working on software to facilitate DAOs that can hold millions or even billions of humans in them in a way of collaboratively sharing information, resources, time, energy, land access, everything of value, in a way that everyone is kind of collectively looking at and agreeing on and voting to. It's also a legal system. We use church law. Our churches, which we have several, international churches, hold they're kind of like a limited liability corporation, but it's like the church version of it, inside of an auxiliary branch, which is already detached from the centralized hub of the church. And then within that insurance kind of blocking thing that can hold cooperative for-profit businesses and nonprofits within that structure. And so inherently this thing that I'm talking about, interconnected collective, doesn't have an old paradigm thing that can be attacked. There's no registered entity for the Awakening Sovereignty Collective. We don't exist. And to me, that's what really being sovereign is at this stage of the game, this level of development. Now we have our churches, where this kind of DAO or this kind of interconnected collective system integrates with the old system, because you have to, they're here. And so all those measures of legal entities and beings are how we do that and engage with the old paradigm in a way they can understand. It's also an economic system. We're introducing new currencies and the ability for people to forge their own currencies and link their currencies to resources or acts of service. And this is less like, I have a car, so I can make 100 car dollars. And it's more like, I am a taxi driving service, and I'm going to print 1,000 of my currency, and I'm going to have each unit be redeemed for 20 miles in my taxi in this area of the world. And then there's something called the trade guild system, which consensually links digital currencies together, and can even link like linked currencies together to do all this kind of economic resource mapping. That's basically the digitization of value in a way where we get to decide what that looks like instead of a bank or some other entity outside of us that may or may not have our best interests in mind. Anyway, trade guilds are designed to gather lots of little currencies that have little features and functions. Say you want to do like kind of a localized currency. You can make an LA coin. You can find every other digital currency holder in LA and make an agreement with them, an exchange agreement. You then print a cryptocurrency that is redeemable for all the digital currencies and all the services that are offered therein. That's also linked to its own website. So you can just go to like lacoin.com and see all the things you can get with your LA coin in LA from people in LA. You can also do digital versions of this, something I'm planning to release as the Sovereign Abundance Alliance Interconnected Collective of the ASC. Just credits, where we're going to call them, and our credits are redeemable for advertising, unlimited advertising. We literally have the most cost-efficient advertising on the internet due to a form of software intelligence that we have that within awareness no other group does have or is actively talking about having. But that's neither here nor there. Bit of a tangent, personal note. Thanks for listening. Interconnected collectives. So they're designed to facilitate. So the core of each collective are your shares. Our collective uses governance and resource shares. Some collectives can merge those things together or even introduce other forms of shares and other kinds of value. A key component that's a difference between a share in this system and the old system are shares are non-exchangeable. Many DAOs have a morality and an integrity, like the ASC, that must be upheld. So there are limitations on the transferring and issuing of shares that prevent potentially unaligned parties from gaining too much control to become a major decision holder. Governance shares are votes. Collective gets to decide the thresholds for the decisions they choose to make. So you could go complete consensus. You could go 51%. You could say you need 91% consensus to pull $10,000 out of your bank account. You could say you need 41% consensus to visit a community. You could say you need 81% consensus to exile someone who's been repeatedly destructive. You could then check these and change these thresholds at any time based on the will of that interconnected collective. So collectives, well, one step. Resource shares are like your measure of contribution and ownership and directly relate to your ability to request access from the collective, which is the nature of an ICC, is to provide for its members unconditionally for all their basic rights and for really cool stuff. At least that's how the ASC works in our intentions. I guess you can technically use the structure for anything, but I have a set of recommendations with using these social, digital, software, and legal structures. Yeah, so it being all about projects is kind of what it's about. All members of the DAO and DAO guests, so ASC guests, if an ASC member sponsors them in, can present a project. If 51% of ASC members decide to say yes to that, we then allocate money, land, time, energy, tools, media reach, whatever, and we make it happen. And then we make the next thing happen. And the new people that come in, that don't come in with a bunch of money or a bunch of skills or a bunch of like really cool stuff, they help us make some other things happen first. And then we help them make their things happen in turn when it becomes time, when we've catalyzed and crystallized the energies. Because right now we're still dealing with finite reality. And it seems like we don't have enough of stuff. And in practice, it's true. We don't have enough dollars. We got a lot of everything else. But we have a lot of dollars. It's just like we need ultimately billions. So we keep building these regenerative cooperative businesses, which are kind of the crystallization of all of these systems that come together. It's like, where's the money for the projects come from? Business. You monetize the collective services through digital currencies that are exchangeable for cryptocurrencies, that are exchangeable for dollars very easily. Though not quite yet. Some of these software systems will be crystallizing in the next 1 to 3 months. along with our collective awareness of how and why we want to use them. Because a lot of these systems have been around for a long time with little to no usage, because we just weren't there yet. But I'm hoping more and more every day that we're getting more there. And it's totally a snowball going down the hill effect, where a whole bunch of people for the last 70 plus years have been pushing this snowball up a hill. It got to the top. Now it's rolling down. And you can join the avalanche if you want, or not. It's up to everyone. One more note on interconnected collectives and how they interact with each other. So first, it's solely consensually based, so users can resign from collectives. In certain collectives like the ASC, if one does resign, you're issued a stipend of our collective funds until you've been repaid what is considered reasonable for your time and energy or your land or whatever you've given, invested, whatever. Same thing if you're exiled. However, not if one is dishonorably exiled for like stealing from us or doing something else that's destructive. We don't reimburse those people. But interconnected collectives. So if you don't want to join ours, make your own and do both. It's like any interconnected collective can accept any member, and can also, shares can be issued to people or to other collectives. So you can kind of have collectives in collectives next to collectives coming together to make super umbrella collectives. And I'll just give a example of that here. The ASC is kind of an umbrella collective. We specifically steward stuff. That's what we do. We find the stuff that's aligned and we give it to other people who will use it well, and then who do. And then we get more stuff and then we keep giving it out. We have 9 registered interconnected collectives now, and maybe another like 20 that have kind of still putting it together, because it's a lot to really organize yourself this way. It takes a lot of work and thinking, and then when we really make collectives, they all get their own websites and databases, and there's all these systems that go into it that are called our digital sovereign nation support services, which is in itself a interconnected collective that is inside of the Sovereign Abundance Alliance technology conglomerate, which is my baby, which is a part of the ASC. And the way this relationship works currently on the consensus of everyone involved is the SAA gives the ASC access to all of our systems free of charge, an unlimited amount. In addition, we share 30% of our revenue from sales to people that we don't give our services unconditionally to the ASC. The ASC issues the Sovereign Abundance Alliance governance and resource shares for using our digital systems and for the revenue we give to them. So we have a standardized ASC rate at this moment that is for every 27 link click hits that any one person or collective sends to one of our sponsored website links, which we have a handful of really cool things. We award 1 governance and 4 resource shares. Resource share, if you bought them, is $3 at the moment. If you invest in our Patreon campaign, it's 3 times that rate, up to $33, to encourage monthly contributions in a monthly stewardship pool. Talking a little bit more about that. So if any amount up to 33, you will get 1 resource share per dollar. And then after that, for the next $99 is 2, and then it's a standardized rate of 3. So that means if you get 27 link click hits, you get $12 worth of shares, which is almost 40 cents, I believe, per hit, which is a lot of value that we're directing at this moment for that, because we don't have enough of it. And when we have a lot of it, we'll reduce that rate. And that's how it works. It's part of the system, is collective voting, collective projects, and collective award rate. Also, distribution of the resources, which is including those shares and the digital currencies that are printed and made. And then specifically trade guilds, people can invest their money into, and their resource shares. It's one of the only cases, at least in our model, where we allow resource shares to be traded, is when they're invested into a trade guild, who then manages and monitors various forms of digital, crypto, and share rates. And that's like a new paradigm stock system that I could talk about for 10 hours on here. And it's a whole thing. And we're going to have digital systems that make it really easy for people to learn and use it without even necessarily needing to really understand it, just like most people don't understand how the current stock system works. Same thing for a lot of these systems. understanding people go to the old paradigm schools for a decade and still don't understand how our government works, how our current government, how our current military, how our current medical systems. They don't know. A lot of people will spend 40 or 50 years and kind of have a good clue about it. And so in this new paradigm, it's a lot simpler because it's less twisted. But it is complex. It is vast. And we need to understand that we don't really fully understand all of it. Kind of get over that. Start using it and figure it out from there. At least that's what I would really like to see, because it's not fun for me to interact with humans in the old system and ways of being and doing things. I spent a lot of time on my own in designing artificial intelligence and soon robotics, because I don't know, I just like that they fall through for me a lot more than anyone operating in the old paradigm system. So here's to more high-level people choosing to accept this high level of behavior and these high-level systems and integrate them for themselves, and then figure out how we can bring them all together to form a super collective that I believe will be on par and then beyond and above the Vatican, which has laid the way with church law to create an internationally recognized sovereign state with branches in every country in the world, with all of our physical branches being protected and having not being allowed to have other police or any other form of outside governance affecting our communities. That's the major incentivization for unification at this time, is to be acknowledged really fully, truly on a military level as sovereign, because there are a lot of our people in third world countries and first world ones that are suffering heavily from injustice. And this is how we can actually change that, is unifying in these ways, in these systems, in these new ways of beings, and coming together on land-based properties and these new businesses, channeling our monies and our attentions into these new systems and participating and fleshing them out and expanding them. And if enough of us crystallize this, everything would change in a week. It's just getting there, where enough people are choosing to crystallize it in the moment that we're all at. And yay for this show, and for Doron and Destiny and every other speaker and watcher and listener here who are choosing to be part of this crystallization that we're experiencing. I think that is the end of my spoken overview. If there are questions, or I could also show some videos and parts of our website. Questions might be more interesting.
Sure. I can bring you a couple questions, comments, if you'd like to share screen, you could share the website, you could share the Patreon, or whatever you'd like to share, and I'll have some comments.
Cool. Thank you, Dora.
Let's see here. An announcement that later today, the next few things happening are, we have Dakota Kaiser. We're doing question and answer with Dakota Kaiser right now. And we have 15 minutes probably to all of us, how long, see the ASC's mission more clearly. After that, we have we'll have Lindsay and Chris's presentation, and then after that, at 5:11, we could start that, 5:15 if we'd like, and then we have 5:44 meditation. Travis Huntley, 11-minute global meditation. Then we have a 1-hour group chat, 6 o'clock. All of us come together and just chat and talk ideas and projects and whatnot, more collective and cooperatively and co-creatively. So let's see here. For Dakota, of comments, questions on the YouTube and the webinar jam. We have Gay Baxter said, just listening with a big heart. Gay Baxter said, it's awfully complex. Reminds me more of the older monetary systems. Do you have anything on that? Or Deborah L says enjoying and listening with the heart. New Earth, New You Now shares your website and Patreon. And Deborah L says thank you again. Let's see here. Thank you, Dakota, from Deborah L. Things that come to mind for me is how to get involved. I think you have spoken about that a little bit or a lot. Would you like to say anything or share? You muted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I wanted to respond to comparing it to the complex monetary system that it currently exists. And that this is a transitional system while we collectively get out of scarcity into all the things that we want. And then we can use models that are nothing like this, each other and ourselves, when we have enough of all the stuff. And in the meantime, this system is built on top of the monetary system, the existing one. It's built on top of the current political system, on top of the current legal system. It's built on top of all of the current systems. So it is just as complex and then more complex than they are. That's just how it had to be in realistic practicality and function. And we're making the presentation of this simpler all the time, and you can help. It needs to be translated not just in a lot of different languages, but in a lot of different sub-languages. Because even though everyone might speak English, there are hundreds of subcultures of English language where different words mean different things to different people, and identifying those in those subcultures and presenting series of videos and articles and words that get this communication across in a way where everyone can understand it is very important. As far as how one can get involved, every way you could imagine that you could also imagine being useful to a super collective. So it's like, do you like to do stuff on the ground? Great. We've got properties, 9 active eco-village developments going on in North and South America. Do you want to participate in business? Great. Do you want to start a permaculture branch? Do you want to whatever, it's like I could talk for a long time about all the different businesses, but it's just reality. It's like, if you want to do something on a regular basis, really 5 hours a week is kind of the general minimum, at least for me, to personally engage with anyone. Other people might be a little more lax on that, but if you want to do stuff physically, digitally, spiritually, praying, meditating, channeling, selling, building, programming, whatever, talking, putting up stickers, inputting data, admin stuff, like stuff 6-year-olds could do. They were motivated and dedicated. They're usually not, but neither are most humans. But here's to changing that, because we'll have more dedication when we have something to really be dedicated to. And that thing to be dedicated to is a DAO or DAOs. Find super collective groups and party up, basically, and then do stuff. Video? Can I screen share it now?
All right. You want to go ahead and screen share? I could embed the video right in if you have one that I can grab off like a YouTube or something.
Or I want to do the ones on our Patreon after I screen share our interface.
Okay, great.
Put up the ones on our Patreon in order.
You know how to do the screen share, and then you choose window, and then you open that window. You can scroll on the window. Okay. There we go.
This is our website, and it features it's pretty from the future. A little bit too much so. So we've made a mobile application that is really easy and simple. This is more like an interactive adventure experience through a lot of different things. some of these things are not done yet, so they're boxes. But so we're talking here. This is a WordPress embed of our Slack system. And all these locked things you wouldn't be able to see unless you were in a member's account that had the privileges to see them. They're like hidden. This is what most people log in and see. You can sign up, join an account, kind of check out what's going on in some of these councils or a general conversation. You can join more conversations. You can also go to awakeningsovereignty.slack where it looks a lot snazzier. Honestly, this is it's because Slack you can't automatically make an account for. So the WordPress is for people that don't want to make an account, just want to snoop around, and or for people that we didn't know already. So you have to have a personal invite unless you go through that. But what you can do is you can sign up on the website, and then you can go to awakeningsovereignty.slack for the full experience. Let's see. So for those of you that don't know, oh my God, go check this out. It's called COEO. It's the Geosocial Network for Conscious Changemakers, and it's the coolest social media website I've ever seen. And I've seen pretty much all of them, I think, that speak in English. They got so many features. I could talk about 40 minutes on why this is a great idea for you to make an account and figure out how to use it. But that's not today. And that's just kind of how all of these things are, actually, is they all take you down these little wormholes of these little systems that have been created, including our academy. So you want to learn more, you don't know what you're doing, great, come over. We've got 3 free courses to learn about some of these stuff and things. And you might not even understand it, but that's okay. You'll get a better understanding of what's going on in our academy over there. That's where all the real cool stuff is. Join. So this is where you can really learn about us in a really brief, sweet, wonderful summary. And this is actually a 7-step pick your own experience. You sign up here, you'll get an email. That email takes you to 11 other pages that talk about the different ways and roles you can play with us. And then you have multiple actions you can take for each of those roles, and then there's closing pages. So altogether, this experience is actually, the join experience is over 104 pages of content that you can experience each and every page, or a select path if you choose, because there's a lot of information out there. This is where our actual system functions for interconnected collectives come in. These are our digital sovereign nation support services. Let's start with the land sharing map. So I'm sure you guys have seen this in other places. It's Namundo has this, New Earth Nation has this, Google Maps has a version of this. This is a way for you to have your own database version of this. And see, we've gone here, we labeled all of our personal ecovillages, our expansion centers, which aren't really quite there to an ecovillage yet, because that's a whole thing. We went through the best of Namundo, the best of the New Earth Nation, the best of Commune Tierra, the best of Bit Nation, and the best of EcoBasin. We put them all into one map and got about 200 of the coolest, most aligned, sustainable locations from all the world indexed into one place. Then we have our particular territories, which we haven't really been populating this map actually yet, so we haven't even listed it on here. It's kind of a project. We don't really get enough traffic on here yet to kind of make it worth the time. But you can go into all these things. You can click on it. It gives you a description. This is a Black Bear Ranch. It's an anarchist community in California. It sends you to their website. If it's ASC territory, you actually can go down here and request access to it. And it's one of our projects. We're actually going to reach out to every single one of these guys and ask them if they want to join, and then handle what will be the new sovereign passport or recognition system. Because honestly, people are kind of crazy, and when you invite anyone to a community and you have an open community, crazy people show up and then they cause problems, right? So a lot of communities don't want to be open because of that, but they want to be open and they want to love everyone. And so we've created a system of recognizing and identifying people through a trust and reputation system that is not yet online yet, but we have our own beta backend version that we use. Public version coming out soon. And that's actually linked to our not the time bank, but the assets compendium and market. So we're partnering, and a lot of these are partnerships. Rather than inventing the wheel, we just made a wheel that connects all these other wheels together. So understand that our team, the ASC, did not make a lot of this, but we partnered with other groups that are like, yeah, this is what we all want. Might as well come together and do it together. So you can check this out again on some of. This is like another wormhole. There's a whole bunch you can do here and learn here. Same thing. This is like I guess this is actually, okay, so we send you over here. So this is going to be a program people can have. This is just a demo of an idea of it. It's basically, this is a software program. You run it, you make money. Woo! Our software system, you run it, you're going to make a significant amount of income, and it will help people pay their rent. And that, that could be done in 6 months. Realistically, at our course right now, it's probably more like a year. We'll see. We actually could get done in a month if I had a bigger budget. Administrative, it's like where we use Google Docs. Man, these guys got it. It's like you can share reports. There's a thing called Google Forms. You can embed them into websites. They're brilliant. They're free. You get to set them however you like it, and then it formats the answers into a spreadsheet that you can also iframe into your website, so people can share information in like this really cool formatted indexed way people can change, and then they can look at that information. It's really useful for like shared databasing and indexing of assets and resources and all the other stuff and things. All of these things we're offering to other people. You can use our systems, or we can show you how to make your own, and both, because why not? So this is the Sovereign Abundance Alliance pet project. I've been working on this for 5 years, and have worked with 41 other developers to make a form of artificial intelligence that mimics human behavior on the internet. And we use that to market stuff, and people can interact with that, and they can give us media. You can submit media to us. We're a decentralized media agency. We get hundreds of thousands of views on our stuff currently. And you can give us media here, and if it's really cool, we'll share it to our whole network. Likewise, and this is the easiest way for almost everyone to play, give us good media. It can belong to anyone. We send them a message. We let them know we're doing it. And if they're really with it, they let us broadcast it, because we also mention them. It's like free advertising. Come on. We've only met one group that was like, don't do that. And they seemed lame anyway. You can link your accounts to our network here through Deliver It, which is another system. It's actually a commercial system, but we're taking advantage of it because to do this ourselves is very expensive. But we do it ourselves too on a whole nother system that's totally separate from this. So in these 4 steps, you can link any of your social media accounts to broadcast our information, and you can share our media, and then it gets voted on by a council. We then distribute it to our whole network, which right now it's broadcasting out to about 200 different destinations online. And only more so with every person that chooses to broadcast our frequency. We also set up other people with their own channels. Like, for instance, we're going to set New Earth, New You up with its own channel, Source with its own channel, and then different accounts can broadcast different channels, or all of them. And we award shares for broadcasting information. We award shares for you sharing media. We award shares for everything that you could ever do with us, as long as it creates measurable positive impact on our people and the planet Earth. That is the only time we issue a share, but we always issue shares if that's the case. So this is a Time Republic. This is a super sweet system to just share time with people. It's its own system and thing. We have our own group on it. That has 728 members and 20 active requests right now. And cool, they made me an admin on here. These guys are like deep allies with us and have a whole bunch of their own projects. And if you want to collaboratively get involved with these guys, there is an amazing potential to be had here, like for lucrative abundance and all other forms. These guys are working with cities right now. They literally have city level alliances where entire cities are using this system to trade time for rent. And try not to tangent out in any one particular direction too wrong, because all these things are wormholes into all these systems that are super helpful. There's just so much of it in here. This one's important. Hopefully it'll be done in a couple weeks. It's been delayed for a long time. This is kind of where it all comes together. This will be API integrated to every other existing system, and is basically the central operating decision-making point for all of these other systems I just showed you, plus a whole bunch of other ones I haven't shown you yet. And it's collective voting. And it's all the things I talked about here easily facilitated into a website. This is just a demo. You can't really interact with it yet. Let's go through it. It started with the initialization of the collective started by the system. The system starts with shares, a user with permissions, and vote cloud. All of this can be assigned when it gets created. You could start with any number of users or permissions or anything. This is how we did ours. The two other collectives or members were created. And then the God power was removed. So this person had all permissions, which is like being God in the system. And then it was removed. And then it was a complete consensus until they voted to change it to 77% consensus, or 65, global default. So there's different kinds of thresholds that can be set by the collective. And then now to change it from 65, you now need 65% consensus because that's the new global. But you can change the consensus to like 95 and have a global default of 65 that's overwritten by the specific consensus vote type. Again, not getting too technical because I can keep going into how this actually literally works. But I could do that for like several hours because how it literally works is very complicated. But what you need to know is that it works well. Everyone can have their own instance. They can assign governance and resource shares through here. They can control all the other systems I just mentioned and more through a collective voting mechanism that will eventually be built onto a 4th generation blockchain. Is the evolution of human technology as we know it.
Very cool. Very cool. We are coming down to the end here of your presentations. We have comment. Gay Baxter. Gay Baxter says the round screen of your website could be turned into a 0-point clock with individual time zones with an overall 0-point time, like an internet time when we all join up time.
Cool. To that, I would say, I very much like the interface as it is for ours, and we'll build you yours where you can make it just like that, and then you can have your databases interconnect with ours. So it becomes a different front end for the same back end, which is what we're doing here, like through software, through people, to just like connect everything together. So it's like the Source Network Foundation and NoMap and New Earth Nation and the ASC and everybody else who's in alignment can have their own websites, can have their own sub-identities, they can have their own information and resource pools, and then they can make certain forms of resources and information available to everyone who uses a similar system. And that'll all be built into a blockchain tech here eventually. Again, it's like a time or money thing.
Did you want to share one of the videos?
Yes, I also wanted to say that please download the application. It is like way easier to get than all this other stuff. The other stuff's fun, but just download the app. And one sec, I'm just going to screen share again just to emphasize that for a second. ASC.ai mobile application on Android. We were too cool for Apple. They took us off. But there it is. Yeah, mobile app. And yeah, let's hit some videos. Kind of demoing this Patreon is our collective stewardship fund. So all of the money that goes into this fund goes directly to our board, who decides on what projects based on majority consensus, which to date we've never gotten below 91%. So we go for that. We try for it. We just don't always get it. And yeah, our Patreon. By signing up for it, you become a shareholder. So you have the ability to request access from the fund. And then you also have the ability to vote on the requests of access for others. So it's like a major engagement point for everyone. Donating at least $3 or $1 just to be in the membership pool, or sharing our media and giving us media. Those are like major engagement points anyone can do, and then there's like a million other things. And that's about all I have to say. So if you want to take it away, Doran, with whatever videos are on the Patreon.
Which one do you like the best at this moment?
Let's do the intro one to start with.
Okay.
And let's see
Cool.
the
The one
DAO
at
one.
the top. Okay. Let's see here. Copy.
And I got recommendations
URL.
for everyone.
One moment.
Our Patreon is the perfect way to understand what's going on. Just look at all the videos. It's like 15 minutes worth of videos. I think it most clearly concises and consolidates all of the things that we are sweetly. So please read them and watch them.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, there's really great videos on there.
And more good videos.
Some of the members, Keegan and Lila, and I shared it, and Terra in Ecuador. All these different organizations, a part of the ASC, shared these supportive messages saying, let's all rally here into the collective, the ASC, and yeah, let's do this all together. Here goes the first one. It's 31 seconds. Here we go.
We are the Awakening Sovereignty Collective, a global community of solutionaries and changemakers who are co-creating social, legal, physical, economic, and digital system structures that empower all humankind.
That was cool. Let's do the DAO one next. Yeah, I didn't already say that. And then Lila's. That'd be a great one to close on. Oh, I think I can load them. Don't know what's going on the other end, but I can pull this up, I think.
Sorry, I was muted. Here, I got the DAO one ready to go here.
All right, great.
That one is 2 minutes, 6 seconds. 2 minutes, 6 seconds. After these two videos, to go into.
Can we do Lila's? Can we do one more video, Lila? Ambassador Lila Star?
You want to do DAO and then Lila? Or just one more?
Just DAO
Okay.
and then Lila's. And then that's
DAO
good.
All right, cool. I'm going to go. So, 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Load video. Go.
A decentralized autonomous organization, or DAO, is one of the most powerful concepts of the coming decade. The idea is simple. Use the combined power of blockchain technology and programmable contracts to create efficient, transparent, and trustless organizations. The applications and advantages of this technology are endless. Bitcoin is an example of an early DAO that's already become the most powerful computing network on the planet. But how come we don't see many DAOs today? Besides being a new concept, building and maintaining them today can be extremely technical and complicated. Wing's vision is to bring DAOs to the mainstream. Wings is a project funding and governance platform that allows anyone to easily create, engage in, and make use of DAOs and their services. The platform employs a scientific concept known as swarm intelligence and uses the collective intelligence of a crowd to forecast the success of specific proposals and project milestones. Forecasting helps both the creator and future contributors assess the proposal's potential. Educated forecasts are highly rewarding. Let's take a closer look. Wei and Anna have an idea. Using Wings, they easily create and submit a new project proposal. Wings token holders are notified and can join the process by reviewing, proposing improvements, and forecasting the success of the proposal. Now, Anna and Wei can start their DAO's crowdfunding campaign, in which anyone can participate. All collected funds are sent to a blockchain smart contract, protected by several security layers. At the end of the campaign, forecasters are automatically rewarded for their work. Anna and Wei can now start realizing their idea. Using Wings, new organizations powered by efficient decision-making and decentralized governance will revolutionize the world by serving the everyday needs and tasks of ordinary people. Wings. Kickstart your DAO.
That's a software system we'll be allying with as a company and potentially an ICC and the ASC. Still talking though with that particular group. We'll definitely be using something like their software. May not necessarily that one, but it's a great example of DAO system consciousness facilitated through software. So this next video is a little more human.
Okay. Are we ready for the Lila video?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was playing it on YouTube, so I was. Let's see here. Lila.
Okay.
Lila Star. Ambassador Lila Star. 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Copy. 222. Plug that in there. 223. 223. And then we'll wrap it up after. Over to the next presentation, and then on to the meditation and the group chat. So here we go on Lila Star, Ambassador ASC.
Aloha, I am Lila Star, an ambassador of the ASC, Awakening Sovereignty Collective. Join us now. You feel it. The world is shifting. Humanity is waking up, and a new earth is birthing. And as old paradigm systems trumpeting the mass media collective are crumbling, there is a movement of change makers fueled by love that is rumbling with the power and force of millions. And I feel and know that humanity has collectively agreed to go home together. There is a truth that lives within every soul that will remember that peace and harmony is not only our dream, but our ultimate destiny. The ASC is growing up. We now steward thousands of acres of land and are growing a devoted team of ambassadors. With you, we continue to develop our digital sovereign nation services, facilitate cooperative businesses, and regenerative eco-communities that serve a thriving world. This Patreon is different. It is an example of collective wealth stewardship and consensus decision-making in action. Every month, shareholders vote on how to best distribute the pool. Which ASC solutionary missions and aligned projects will be supported, stewarded, and fulfilled. This is a we culture, growing stronger every day. Thank you for co-creating a truly abundant and thriving world in action, on the ground level, here and now. I believe we have agreed to enact a new story, and a love story at that, liberating the collective heart and mind from eons of suffering, with a new chapter of truth and freedom for every human. Thank you. I love you.